The Tesla Model X is the brand's flagship crossover. It's a three-row EV that comes as standard with 670 horsepower, automatic Falcon wing doors, and a real-world range of over 300 miles. But today you can find used refresh examples for around $50,000. This happens to be the exact same price as a new Infiniti QX55, a crossover that stands out for being incredibly boring. This particular 2022 Tesla Model X was built at the height of the supply chain shortage and carried an MSRP of $133,000 with options when it was new. 1 year later, Tesla slashed the base price of the Model X down to $81,000, and because this is a luxury product, depreciation did the rest. Today, you can buy this exact 2022 Tesla Model X for $52,000 with only 40,000 miles on the odometer. Used Model X prices have dropped so much that they're beginning to overlap with brand new Model Y pricing. In today's video, I'm going to explain why the 2022 Tesla Model X has quietly become one of the most exciting used EV deals around. Starting off, the Tesla Model X was Tesla's third vehicle in its lineup. First, we had the Tesla Roadster, which was eventually discontinued in 2011. Then we had the Model S, and now we get the Tesla Model X. It is the brand's first electric crossover, and it debuted in late 2015 as a 2016 model year. The Model X aimed to offer straight-line performance comparable to a sports car, enough practicality to match the Honda Odyssey, and styling akin to other premium crossovers. The Model X was actually the only electric crossover on the market for 3 years until the launch of the Jaguar I-Pace in late 2018. And it was Tesla's only crossover until the Model Y, which launched in 2020. In late 2021, Tesla made a refreshed variant of the Model X, featuring a cleaner front and rear fascia, a fully revised interior, and massively improved performance. The refreshed Model X comes as standard with a 95 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack and dual electric motors producing 670 horsepower. This car can travel 348 miles per the EPA and can accelerate to 60 in just 3.8 seconds. Tesla also offers the Model X in the Plaid variant, which produces 1,020 horsepower and can sprint to 60 in just 2.5 seconds. The 2022 Model X weighs in at 5,390 pounds, which is hefty, though it's still lower than other high-end rivals such as the BMW iX and Mercedes EQS SUV. This crossover's 199.2-inch design features an incredibly low drag coefficient of 0.24, giving it the same aerodynamic score as the BMW i4 sedan. The X also features adjustable air suspension, delivering up to 8.1 inches of ground clearance. On paper, the 2022 Model X still looks incredibly competitive, even by today's standards. Around back, we'll notice a few things, the first of which is the tow hook. The tow hook is optional on the Model X, and if you have the Model X equipped with it, then you can tow up to 5,000 pounds. It's 3,500 if you have the 22-inch wheels. The other feature is what appears to be a rear retractable spoiler. What's funny is early Tesla Model X's actually did have a spoiler that could be deployed when you reach highway speeds or through the infotainment to increase your downforce. But later Tesla Model X's built after the 2018 model year all get a thick spoiler back here, so it actually doesn't move, and that might be a good thing because there's a lot of moving parts inside the Tesla Model X, and it also functions as your third brake light. Around back, we actually get 3 different seat configurations in the Model X. As standard, you get 5 seats, and then 7 or 6 seats is optional. Underneath the power liftgate, we can see the interior, and what we can also see is a 6-seat configuration. There are actually 3 different seat configurations of the Tesla Model X. 5 seats comes as standard, and 7 or 6 seats are the 2 optional ones. If you get a Tesla Model X Plaid, then you just get 6 seats as standard. If you value cargo space, then you should opt for the 5-seat Tesla Model X, as that offers the most amount of cargo volume. You get 39.7 cubic feet, which is really significant for a crossover that's under 200 inches long. But for this video, we're only going to be focusing on the 6-seat configuration because this Tesla Model X offers 6 seats and it tends to have the most popularity. People really want the 6-seat configuration because it has second row captain's chairs. The trade-off with the 6-seat configuration is that this was a $6,500 option when this car was new, and we also get limited cargo space. So we get 14.8 cubic feet behind the third row, though if we fold the third row, and it's actually pretty easy, we just press a small button on the back of the third row seat, fold it down for an almost flat floor area, we get 35.2 cubic feet, which is a 4 cubic foot penalty over the 2-row variant. We also get a lower load floor area that reveals even more space where you can even throw like carry-on suitcases and stuff. When it comes to cargo volume, it's easy to see that the Tesla Model X is very practical. But then some things don't really make a lot of sense, like raising the third row. So in a lot of cars, especially luxury cars, there's like a little button off to the side you could press. The seats will raise automatically, or at least there'll be like a strap or something you can grab onto. Not in the Tesla Model X. You have to reach all the way to the front, find the button, and then raise it up manually. It's just a little awkward. Up front, we get a large 6.5 cubic foot front trunk, which is actually more than double the size of the Tesla Model S's frunk. This gives us a total cargo volume of 41.7 cubic feet with the third row folded. Now, the moment everyone's been waiting for, to get inside the Tesla Model X, we have the Falcon wing doors, and these door handles aren't really handles, it's more or less a button. So you press the button, and then the doors will come to life. To start off, I'm going to get into the third row seats of the Model X. And thankfully for the Falcon wing doors, it's actually pretty easy to get inside. And I would assume for elderly people or people with limited mobility, the Model X is a great car to get in and out of just because there is so much space. So to get in the third row, you can easily stand up. And as you all know, I'm 6'11", and I can stand up almost perfectly fine back here. To get inside the third row, you can just position yourself like so, squat down, and then you actually have a pretty easy entry into the third row. So the other way to get in the interior is press on this little arrow right here, and the second row seats will move up so you can easily get into the third row. And once again, with the Falcon wing doors, you can pretty much stand up and be totally fine. So now I can get in to the third row of the Tesla Model X. And as you can see, the seats are nicely appointed. They're also heated back here. We get AC vents, 2 cup holders, and 2 USB-C ports. But now, what is it like with an additional person in the third row?
Hello, I'm Falcon, and I'm 5'8".
Perfect. So now can we move that can we move that seat up a little bit? There's that arrow on the back. So now you have some space, and as we can see, it's going to be a little tight even if you are in the second row. But overall, with 2 people back here, it's doable. Would I be very comfortable on a long road trip? I don't know.
No.
What do you feel?
Kind of, maybe, but it's more so for kids, so.
We do have Alcantara headliner up here, which feels really nice. And there actually is a decent amount of plastic in this back area. So the materials in the third row are definitely not as nice as the materials up front.
We forgot our seat belts. Safety first.
Safety first indeed. There you go. Heck yeah. But now, before we get into the second row of the Model X, I have devised a cheeky little test for us to experiment with. Can the Model X doors open in a tight environment? Will the sensors notice that something's here, and will the doors stop? So I'm going to stand right here, which is pretty close to the Model X. I don't know how far this is, but it seems like it's about maybe 1.5 feet. And I will press on the doors and see what happens. Whoa, okay. Maybe not. We're going to try this one more time. You see, if I would have a slightly longer nose, I would be in the hospital. Now we are in the second row of the Tesla Model X, and As you can see, we have a decent amount of space. It's not overflowing with interior volume like some other third row electric SUVs on the market like the Rivian R1S, but we do have a decent amount of space back here. We have solid footroom, and I still have a decent amount of space beyond my knees. Now, one of the kind of weird things about this interior is that we do have captain's chairs, which is really nice, but you only get an armrest on the left side. So in this car, there's no center armrest or console area for you to put your right elbow. Now, fun fact, on early Tesla Model X's, there was a very rare seat configuration where there was a center console located between these two seats. Tesla axed this option a long time ago, so on newer Tesla Model X's, you just get a bunch of open space. We also get some cool amenities back here, such as mini sunroofs for each person sitting in the back, and we also have a center display where we can control the climate, put on movies, play video games, and even adjust the front passenger seat if no one's in it. There are AC vents, 2 USB-C ports, and 2 cup holders located back here. The one thing I really appreciate about the Model X's back seats is that the floor area is totally flat. It looks really cool, really minimalist, and very few other cars on the market have a totally flat floor area. So spanning all the way from the back to the front, we have a totally flat surface. My final note on the back seats of the Tesla Model X is that the materials are pretty good. We have more Alcantara-esque headliner. The whole door panel is made out of soft touch materials, and we get some really nice accents like aluminum and wood. And even these seats feel very comfortable. They're made out of the same leatherette material you get in the back seats, and they are perforated, and they have a really nice stitching pattern. It feels pretty premium back here. Up front, the Tesla Model X has another trick up its sleeve, and that is the power-operated front doors. So these doors are frameless. They're also made out of double glazed glass, and they are fully automatic. And what's really cool is most doors have prongs. There's like usually 3 settings, so the door will open up. You have like the first prong, second prong, etc. But this Tesla Model X, you can actually open the door to pretty much any position and it will stay. So I can open the door like exactly to this point. It's really cool. There's a lot of flexibility with this door. And another cool thing about the Tesla Model X doors is that when you get inside and you put your foot on the brake pedal, the door will close automatically. Up front, the Tesla Model X's interior comes with a wide array of amenities. For starters, we get heated and ventilated power adjustable front seats, along with 2 wireless phone chargers, 2 USB-C ports, 2 cup holders, a panoramic windshield that extends back really far, and a punchy 22-speaker sound system. Other features include aluminum pedals, a 17-inch center display, and a digital gauge cluster located right there. Unfortunately, we don't get a head-up display or anything like that in the Tesla Model X, but I will say the infotainment alone in this car is really good. There's a lot of cool functionality in this infotainment, but the first feature I want to talk about is the attention to detail. So right here, we see our model of the Tesla Model X. So it's this 3D visual, and what's really cool is the attention to detail in here. So let's say we want to roll down the windows. So I rolled down the windows to about 50%. And now in this little image, we see the windows exactly at 50%. Now I open up the door, and whatever position I hold the door at, so let's say I go exactly there, it will mimic it in this visual, and it's really precise too. This is cool, and you just don't really get this attention to detail in a lot of other vehicles. The next cool thing is the center infotainment, and what's really nice in here is we have lots of functionality. So if I want to close the passenger door, just press it right there, and the door will close. Through this screen, we can also adjust our air suspension, and we can adjust a lot of the driving settings, like the acceleration response, and even drag strip mode. So you press this, the battery will precondition for around maybe 15 to 20 minutes if the car hasn't been driven in a while, and then you can put the car into launch mode. We also have auto shift, so we can shift using this little side shifter right here on the screen, or we can also use smart shift. So if I'm parked up against a wall, then the car will know to go into drive or reverse depending on where the wall is. Some other cool features include Sentry mode, the built-in dash cam, the toy box where there's a lot of Easter eggs and fun stuff to play around with, along with some of the built-in games. Now, where the Model X really takes center stage is first off with the display processor. We get an AMD Ryzen chip, and that allows for very, very snappy and responsive visuals. We also have a great built-in route planner. So say I want to go to Clemson, South Carolina, and now the car will plan out our route with all the charging stops. You just give it a second and boom, there we go. Our route, all the charging stops we need to make. It works very, very well. Some other features in the Tesla infotainment include the climate control menu, so everything is done through the screen, including adjustment of the air vents. And we also have this little symbol which indicates bioweapon defense mode. So this car has a built-in HEPA air filter. So you press that button and then your cabin will be purified through a HEPA air filter. Maybe if you're driving through a dusty environment or if you have bad allergies, it works really well. There's some other cool stuff in here too, like the center display, which can actually shift. So you press that button and then it will face you, or it can face the passenger. And overall, I gotta say the Tesla Model X's built-in infotainment just works really well. And this doesn't even touch on the very intuitive Tesla app where you can control numerous functions, including preconditioning the car, preconditioning the battery, turning on the ventilated seats on a hot day, etc. I really think Tesla's infotainment is top-notch. Before we wrap up the tech section, if you are looking for a Tesla Model X with hardware for, you gotta find a 2023 model year that was built after March. So March 2023 or later will come with hardware 4. Otherwise, the refresh Model X will still feature hardware 3, and this 2022 is still running on the older hardware. Up next is charging, and the Tesla Model X has its charge port located back here, just like every other Tesla product. The Model X comes with a 95 kilowatt hour usable battery pack that delivers an EPA range of 348 miles if you have the 20-inch wheels, or 311 miles if you get the 22s. The Tesla Model X actually performs really well in real-world range tests, and Out of Spec Studios got 331 miles running on the 20-inch wheels like this one right here at 70 miles per hour. It didn't quite live up to the EPA's estimation, but I still think 331 miles is a really impressive number. The Model X charges at up to 48 amps on level 2, that delivers around 11.5 kilowatts, and on DC you can charge at up to 250 kilowatts. The Model X and Model S have a slightly better charge curve than the Model 3 and Y, and this gives us a 10 to 80% charge time of about 27 minutes on a supercharger. The Tesla Model X, and frankly any Tesla for that matter, is just really easy to road trip with. Simply type in where you want to go on the infotainment and you get routed to the charging stations, and the battery will precondition itself on the way. But that's enough talk of charging. Let's get this thing out on the road and see how it drives. All right, driving the Tesla Model X. So right now I'm driving through a city suburban environment and the car is fine. Now, the one thing about the Tesla Model X that you will need to get used to is that there's just a lot of noises in the cabin. There's a lot of moving parts inside this car, and a lot of this stuff just makes noise. So like the second row seats will make little noises whenever you drive around slightly bumpy roads. The Falcon wing doors will also make slight noises. And if that's something you're okay with, cool. But if you're looking at a Tesla Model X, just be aware that this is not going to be a super quiet cabin. There's just a lot going on in here. Now that said, it's hard to argue with just how cool this cabin is. So I have this massive, expansive windshield located right ahead of me, and the visibility is really amazing in this car. Frankly, it just feels like a really futuristic vehicle to be driving around in, even though this car came out in late 2015. So I think this car was very ahead of its time, and it still feels very modern when you're behind the wheel. Navigating through some corners, the yoke is a little strange. Some people really, really dislike it. I'm kind of indifferent. It's great for visibility, so I can easily see the gauge cluster located right behind the steering wheel or yoke, but it can be a little cumbersome in really tight corners, especially when you're trying to or you would reach up as if you would grab the top of the steering wheel, but obviously it isn't there, so it does take some time to get used to. Now we're about to approach some curvy roads, and the Tesla Model X makes 670 horsepower, so let's feel what that's like. It's good acceleration. Right now I'm going to throw the car into sport mode, which it actually already is, and we will see how this thing behaves through twisty roads. One pedal driving and braking just feels as good as any other Tesla is, and there we go. Not bad. The handling isn't particularly amazing. I think there's a lot more fun electric SUVs to drive out there, like the Audi e-tron S. But this car isn't bad per se. It is a heavier vehicle. I'd say the handling for an electric crossover is pretty average. Though I will say the steering always feels really nice in Teslas because it is very responsive and you can adjust the steering weight. So you can go from light, medium, and heavy, and Tesla steering always feels really precise. Now we're cruising down the highway at 70 miles per hour, and this car is definitely on the louder side. We're measuring in at around 67 decibels, which is a lot louder than some other premium electric crossovers on the market, like the Audi e-tron. The Audi e-tron in our testing got 62 decibels, so that car is significantly quieter than the Tesla Model X. Now that said, I think the Model X is actually a really comfortable car to drive on the highway with. I think the seating position is really good, the seats themselves are comfortable, and the other really nice thing about this car is the autonomous driving amenities. So as standard, you get autopilot, which I am using right now. This uses lane centering and adaptive cruise control to keep yourself a safe distance from the car ahead of you. You can take your hands off the wheel for around 30 seconds before the car will prompt you to put your hands back on. And honestly, I think autopilot works really well. It just keeps yourself in the lane and really alleviates the stress of highway driving. Then if you want more autonomous driving functionality, then you can get FSD. And FSD stands for full self-driving, and that can do point-to-point driving. So you can actually pull out of a parking space, drive to your destination, and then park, and then you just get out and the car has driven you from point A to point B. Really cool. Yes, it does make mistakes here and there, but I did spend some time with FSD on Hardware 4 actually this recent weekend in a Cybertruck, and I was really impressed. I think this system has tremendously improved over the years, and it's to the point where I can pretty confidently trust it in most driving situations. It can do city roads, it can do even country roads, dirt roads. It can work in a variety of environments, and I really think FSD is the best autonomous driving feature you can get on any new car sold in the United States. But in terms of driving the Tesla Model X, I gotta say I really like it despite all its flaws. It's a really unique vehicle, you have great visibility, and I think that this car was really ahead of its time back in late 2015 when it debuted, and I still think this car feels very modern even today. I gotta say, I'm really enjoying my time with this car. And that's the Tesla Model X. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we gotta talk about the reliability. The Model X is the least reliable Tesla, and you can just see that. There's a lot of moving parts inside this car, and lots of stuff going on. We have air suspension, Falcon wing doors, automatic front doors, and more. If you're looking at buying a used Tesla Model X, we really recommend finding one that's still under the basic 4-year, 50,000 mile warranty, or just getting an extended warranty if you are buying an older one. That said, I know of people who have great experiences with the Model X, including one of my friends who has a 2017 Model X with 250,000 miles, and it's been very reliable for him. Still, it doesn't hurt having warranty coverage to give you that additional peace of mind. But at $50,000, the refreshed Tesla Model X presents itself as one of the most compelling used EV deals on the market, all things considered. It has 331 miles of real-world range, a sub 4-second 0 to 60 time, supercharging convenience, 3-row practicality, and the Model X checks, or at least tries to check, pretty much every single box there is. But as a complete package, this car just offers something that many other crossovers cannot. If you're in the market for a spacious, quick, and genuinely futuristic family EV, the Model X is it. And now it's finally available for the same price as a limited Toyota Highlander. If you enjoyed today's video, please make a small shrine in your living room to celebrate Evercar's official. You can add in some scented candles and a 1/18 model scale of the 2011 Nissan Leaf, the only true EV. Or you can just press the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.